everyone, and welcome to a fabulous blog collaboration with Embossing Powder and Whimsy Stamps. Both these companies are getting together to bring you two days worth of hop inspiration from both design teams. Now I'm going to be using this high quality rubber stamp. This is the Hydrangea cluster, as well as a Happy Everything stamp. Some new products hot off the shelf of Wow Embossing using these Metalz trios from Seth, Apter, and some white embossing powder as well. Now check out the trios. So I tend to make a lot of tags where I can see the samples. I do it on both black and white cardstock, and I just love seeing it really in depth and detail. So these color combinations from the trios are beautiful. They've got your one's weathered gold, crusty copper, and etched platinum, so they're really grungy style and gorgeous. We're going to be using the crusty copper today. To heat set the image, I'm going to be using my favorite opaque bright white in Superfine detail. The reason being is that this stamp set has lots of intricate designs, and I really wanted to capture that with the Superfine powder. And I'm going to heat set that with my heat tool. Now, if you didn't see it before, I used a Wow ultra slow embossing ink. It's really great, so you don't feel like you have to rush when it comes to stamping a lot of images and then heat setting that. And I just love the actual attention to detail it has, and it captures all the actual embossing powder. For this actual watercolor cardstock, I'm using Hydrangea. It's got a smooth and a rough texture, a very detailed texture, so I'm going to be using the smooth to capture the details on this. I have got my aqua pentel brushes here to use as my brushes for picking up all the pigment on these Faber-Castell's pencils. I have got two types of nibs, like brush tips. I've got the fine detail to pick up the actual pigment from the pencils, then also a clear brush tip here where I'm going to use clean water and spread the pigment around on each petals. I saturated the cardstock first with just normal clean water with each brush, and see how I just adding that, because it adds like a little bit of a layer. And with watercolor cardstock, it adds great layers, but I really wanted the pigment to move and bloom as much as possible for each petal. So that way I can just keep adding the pigment and spreading it around with both nibs. So you'll see this actual card is very watercoloring heavy, so I do apologize if it bores you. I will walk you through the process as much as possible, and I will try and edit out some like I did here, just so you don't get too bored with the process. Now, with my watercolor pencils of choice today, I am using Faber-Castells. For the pink tones, I'm using Pink Madder Lake and Cinnamon. The cinnamon is really great beigey pink neutral tone to add depth to a already pink flower. It's actually great with assortment of colors, but I love adding it to the pinks because it just almost creates that depth. For my watercoloring technique today, I'm no watercoloring artist. Let me just disclose that to you. So I tend to watercolor with almost like a splotchiness to it. It's not seamless, my watercoloring. I try and get some detail to it as much as possible, but I love almost like the watercolor bloom effect, especially when it comes to florals. And so that's kind of the technique that I've used today. I'm also picking up some green tones from the earth green yellowish pencil, watercolor pencil, and I do take my time for today's card. Even though I've sped this process up, I really enjoyed this whole process and took my time with the coloring, because it's just so therapeutic and relaxing, and it calms me down. I don't know how you guys are coping at this stage with everything and this doom and gloom around us. I tend to gravitate towards a lot of watercoloring to keep me central, keep my emotions in check. Apart from also talking with my family and friends. Of course, you know, you do the other stuff, but For me personally, this is my downtime and I enjoy the whole process. So now I'm just adding some of the green tones throughout the leaves of this image. There's the stems and then 2 leaves just hanging out on the side there on the left. I love that this actual ultra fine tip pen here with the pentel pen really captures all the details, and I'm able to pick up a good amount of pigment of ink and then really just blend that out. It's one of my favorite things to do, is just to sit here and just play with colors and watercolor and just take my time. So don't forget, now part of this blog collaboration, you actually have to leave some comments along the way on each of the designers. There's 2 days if you want to be entering the draw to win the prize packs. There's 2 gift cards up for grabs, one from Whimsy and one from Wow. With these as well, actually let me rephrase that. There's not a gift card from Wow. It's actually a 6 jar set with a container. You get to choose the actual colors you want to. So my bad. Now back to watercoloring. I'm just fiddling around, probably a little bit too much, and trying to finish this card off, and just adding some more layers. One thing with the watercolor cardstock, it takes layers really well, so you can keep adding as much layers in between the coloring. I'm gonna actually fussy cut this. I didn't get the die, so I have trusty paper snips here from Couture Creations. And one of the things I do like doing is really capturing strips of cardstock that's heat embossed. So I'm creating my own, I suppose you could call this one, because it's not glitter, but embossed strips and embossed cardstocks. So how to achieve that? I press the ink pad, the ultra slow drying ink pad, really heavily on the cardstock, pour the embossing powder really generously on, and then heat set that, which I then cut into strips. Now, one thing I have to disclose with you in regards to my card today is that I had a paper trimmer that was in need of a new blade. You know how it needs to be replaced when the edges start getting furry? I should have done that beforehand. However, I didn't. So the edges of the actual cardstock strips here, the embossed strips, look a bit distressed, but I kept it. I really was happy to keep that going and that theme. Now here I kept the footage in where I thought I was going to heat emboss on black cardstock with white, but I changed my mind, and I wanted to show you that it is a process. You can change your mind and do whatever makes you happy. So what I ended up doing is bringing some vellum, and I'm going to heat set on vellum. I feel like it doesn't hide the floral image, it doesn't hide the embossed strips. So bringing vellum into play when it comes to your card making is a really great way to still capture a sentiment or an image, however not mute every other work that you did to make this card or creation. So here I am. I actually used black ebony embossing powder in Superfine to capture this celebrate sentiment from Happy Everything. And that's how I'm going to finish the card off, was with that sentiment. I felt like I wasn't covering any of the image. I wasn't losing the image that I worked so hard and took forever to color. And then I'm just going to finish it off with Pretty Pink Posh Espresso Jewels. I feel like that was a really complementary tone to the actual crusty copper embossing powder. And I'm just going to place strategically the actual rhinestones or this actual embellishment with glue dots on the vellum, and I've added adhesive, and that's my way of kind of adhering that vellum down. And that's my card for today. So don't forget, this is a blog hop. Come and visit me over on my blog. The link's going to be below in the description. Come visit the designers' creations. They went all out and you are going to absolutely love it. And I look forward to reading your comments along the way. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.